Have you ever caught yourself thinking about how you haven't made a film in a while? That was me about 6 months ago. I remember thinking to myself, I haven't done anything live action in like 6 months. And as a stop motion animator working on a stop motion feature film, I realized I still have this passion to make live action films, but I just don't know why I haven't been making anything. So I told myself, you know what? I'm just going to go out and shoot something, knock the rust off. It doesn't matter how good it is. It doesn't matter what happens with it. Just go out and shoot something. No budget, no crew, solo one man film shot on an iPhone on a whim. I had this little proof of concept for something from a bigger story that hopefully I'll be able to tell someday. So I thought just go out and shoot this project, get something in the can, and then that'll build some positive momentum for my live action filmmaking. So I did that. It's the first video I uploaded here on the channel. And I also had some ambitions to start a new channel in live action while also chronicling and then analyzing my film projects and exercises here on the channel in these film chronicles. And I needed somewhere to start. I needed something to make. And this was a perfect jumping off point. So I was like, you know what? Go out there and do it. And I did it. And I remember feeling super good about it too. It felt really good to just go out there and shoot something.
Whew, all right. So just finished up. Um, haven't shot a film in a while. So this feels really good. Finally, just get out there and do it. Um, as per usual, there was some complications with location and people coming in and out of shots. It started to rain. Ironically, hasn't rained here in 8 months, but it rains on the day that I'm shooting outside. But it kind of added to the feel of the story, so I'm not even mad at that. Just had to roll with the punches. But shot for a good, I feel like 2 hours or so. And solo dolo. Don't know how the behind the scenes are going to come out. Obviously, I'm shooting this live right after I finished. But I'm a little out of breath. I'm out of shape, one. B, I'm rusty, two. And three, solo filmmaking, micro budget, no budget, low budget. Indie solo filmmaking is a challenge. One of the things I didn't really realize is how much time takes to set up each shot. When you have to, like, I'm working just off an iPhone, and so I don't have a monitor to look at, see if I'm in focus or see if I'm framed right, see if the colors and everything, see if someone's moving in the background. Don't want a car driving past, when I start to shoot. So a lot of time actually is spent less on performance and story and more on the technical side of it. So that's a real challenge in solo filmmaking. But this was fun. This was awesome. This is what I want to do. This feels good to knock the rust off. Don't know how this little teaser concept is going to come out, but it's been in my head for over a year now. It sort of is, like I said, a little bite, a little teaser of a world that I want to eventually create on a bigger scale. But it's nice to finally get out here and just shoot, knock something out, knock the rust off, and we'll see what it looks like in post. Could be the worst thing I ever shot. Could be something that I kind of enjoy. So we'll see. But number one, I had fun. Number two, I got out here and did something. So I took some action. It feels good.
But then when I got back home, got the footage on my computer, started to look back on the clips that I'd shot, and I got pretty dejected. It was nothing like what I thought I was going to shoot in my head. So I didn't really accomplish the vision that I had set out for the project. And then I started to overanalyze everything and be way too critical. For again, this project was only supposed to be to knock the rust off. And here I am analyzing it like it's supposed to be, comparable to the same arena as some of these bigwigs on YouTube or Netflix or, film festival worthy, which is really ridiculous when I say this out loud. But that was what was going through my head. I'm looking back at this footage and I'm like, it felt rinky dink. It felt petty. It felt small. Mind you, it's no budget. It was shot on an iPhone on a whim. It's just a proof of concept. There's no real story to it. And I hadn't shot anything in 6 months. So I don't know why I was being so critical of myself. That's me being like a perfectionist and, having to work through certain traumas to give myself more of an optimistic outlook on what I want to make with filmmaking. But that's also not to say that these thoughts and insecurities didn't creep up. And so when I'm looking back at this footage, I'm just getting super dejected and thinking, what's the point? Like, I'm gonna edit this. I got like halfway through the edit, and I'm thinking, who's gonna watch this? It's kind of petty. It's where there's no story. That it's just rinky dink. And so after kind of cutting up three different versions of it and trimming the fat, like a lot of people on YouTube like to say, you don't need this. Don't have this. Don't let this linger. All that's running through my head while I'm editing, and I'm making three different edits. One that was like 2.5 minutes, another that was like two, and then a third one that was like a minute long. Because I'm thinking no one wants to sit through 3 minutes of this thing that I made. So why would I sit them through 2.5 minutes when I could just do this 1 minute and make it a little bit tighter and kill your darlings or whatever they call it. But then I didn't end up finalizing any of those edits. I kind of just let it be. I kind of just gave up and thought, why am I wasting my time on such like a petty little project when I could be working on my live action feature film that I'm shooting? Allocate whatever filmmaking time I have to a feature film, to my ultimate goal, something that actually matters. Whether something happens with that project or not, it's better than shooting all these little rinky-dink projects. So basically, I kind of talked myself out of finishing this project. So 6 months later, I'm thinking I would do this project way differently. I'd make different choices. And so I went out and I shot a new version to knock the rust off because I was right back in the same position that I was 6 months earlier with nothing to my name. So one night I just worked up the energy and I was like, I'm going to go shoot this thing. And I chose a different location. Like it's nighttime, it's kind of behind a warehouse. It's a little bit more secluded and more cinematic. And so now I'll delve into a little bit more of the details of the project. I do want to make these film chronicles sometimes philosophical, sometimes psychological, what goes on in decision making on the big picture about filmmaking and like talking about aspirations and goals and stuff like that. But also do want to delve into the nitty gritty of my projects and some of the decisions and get into the actual specifics of the projects that I'm working on. And so this specific second version, I was like, I want to shoot this at night. It's going to be way more cinematic. I'm going to shoot this at a different location and have a different perspective on kind of the cinematic pacing that I wanted for the short. And I was going to learn from that first version and try to correct it and make it better. And then also I was like thinking, I could showcase the difference from like, look at what I did 6 months ago. Look how much better this cinematic new version was. Ironically, it took me about an hour to cook this up. I just went and shot. I kind of already knew the shot list that I wanted. I knew the shots that I needed. I already had kind of better lighting at the location that I was at. And I just went out there for about an hour and just nailed all the shots that I needed. But what's ironic is after that film session, I also felt pretty good. I was like, man, I went out and did something. The act of just filming itself, no matter what it is, sometimes is enough to just get the juices flowing, get those wheels churning. And then I started to look back at the clips on my computer. And unlike the first version, I liked a lot of the shots. I liked some of the angles. I thought this was worth doing. But before I delved into editing this second version of Volt, a Spark test, I went back and wanted to look at what I had previously 6 months earlier. And I was sort of surprised at what I found. A new perspective 6 months later, and shooting this other project, I look back at the footage of the first one and I'm thinking, this kind of isn't as bad as I remembered it. And so I finished the visual effect in Adobe After Effects. I color grade it. I actually changed the color grade again. I have some LUT packs from Film Riot, which I used. And then I added sound to my project. And in the previous version, when I kind of gave up on the project, I didn't get to the point where I started to score it. I didn't put any background music. I just kind of gathered the Foley and atmospheric sounds for the project, kind of just bare bones. But I didn't actually go in and finalize like an audio edit. But then when I actually added that with the color grade and then kind of refined the pacing a little bit, I was kind of like, okay, this is not that horrible. So now I'm thinking, like, did I just waste time shooting this other project, the same project over again when maybe it's 5%, 10% better? So one thing that I'm kind of learning to do is like be satisfied with something that is not necessarily good enough, but finding that cost of making something 2% better, 5% better, instead of just going out and shooting another project or finishing something and taking the lessons and learning something from it. It's all about cost efficiency. And this project alone, I know I'm not getting super into the weeds of like the decisions and stuff that I made from a technical standpoint here on this chronicle, but the lessons that I learned from this project are a lot more philosophical. And even if a viewer or an audience isn't really entertained by what I made, or, it is kind of rinky dink, it is smaller, it's a little bit more petty, that's fine because I got to remind myself that the whole reason why I even shot this project and this film exercise in the first place was to just knock the rust off. I needed to get going. I needed to get my car out of neutral. Hell, I needed to even just turn my car on.
I'm getting a little tired. All this bending down. Man, it's not even hot out here. I'm just like so out of shape. I think after this, I'm gonna hit the gym.
Because here I am stuck wanting to make films and then dwelling and ruminating on my lack of connections, lack of means, lack of help, no cast, no crew, no money to make anything. So all these doubts and insecurities creep in. So when you make something on such a small scale, I was super critical. I'm like, what's the point of this? Why am I not shooting for the moon on something bigger, more meaningful? But again, I was just looking for validation outside instead of just reminding myself what is the goal and point of this filmmaking project. It's to get better at filmmaking. It's to build a body of work and a catalog of projects, no matter how big or how small. And I lost sight of that along the way. And it took me way too many months to go out and actually shoot this project, complete the edit, upload it, share it for the world to see, and then to record this and talk about it and start this channel. So I've been really frustrated. I have a lot of pent up energy when it comes to that. And I don't know how these chronicles are going to go. They might be more of a therapeutical medicine for me. I'm not sure if anyone wants to hear from someone who's not established talking about filmmaking. I don't necessarily ever want to be a filmmaker or, preaching how to do something, how to make this film, how to do this, how to do that. I more so want to delve into just what I've done and then talking and analyzing that and just being transparent and hopefully can entertain with the projects that I make and the films that I do create. But if nothing else, I would love to be able to inspire other like minded filmmakers who are interested in filmmaking. Sometimes all we need is just a reminder to keep going. And when doubt and insecurity creeps in, some criticism perhaps, a lack of accomplishments, when all that hits you, sometimes you just kind of need a reminder to keep going. I hope you guys enjoyed this film chronicle. Big philosophical discussion on Volt, a spark test. Definitely see how these film chronicles develop and kind of evolve through time. I'll probably find my groove and my niche here on the channel at some point. But if you have made it this far, just know that I appreciate you. You're probably into filmmaking, so hopefully you stick around and see what kind of projects that I cook up. And again, learn from the mistakes that I make. Hopefully, I can entertain you along the way, but I hope to inspire nonetheless for you to go out and make your films or for anyone to go out and create what they want to create in any medium that they see fit. So I'm hoping I could look back 6 months from now and be proud that I went and started and spread that creative fusion. And we'll see where we go from here. Appreciate you for tuning in to the Volt Spark Test Chronicle. Be on the lookout for more projects coming soon.